So moving on, I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about a statement of purpose, because this is something that you might use for an undergraduate or a graduate school application, depending on your school. So similar to the CV and resume, it covers your academic and professional interests, but it's a statement that you write yourself. So it's usually 500 to 1,000 word paper that you write. Standard is 12-point font Times New Roman, and it's generally single-spaced. So that's a heads up about the formatting of a statement of purpose. In the next slide, we'll go into more details about the content. Okay, so just continuing with what is a statement of purpose. So a couple of things that it should cover, that it does contain. It's an opportunity to share your interest and goals with the admissions committee or the graduate department. It's can cover your background and capabilities of how it relates to the program that you're applying for. And something I like to share with students is the key word is purpose, in that, what is your purpose for applying to this school? And that's really the point that you want to get across to the admissions committee with this document. So a couple of things that a statement of purpose is not. It is not simply a resume or CV or a list of accomplishments. This is a cohesive written paper. It's not a list. And it's also not an area to put unrelated personal information. So you will definitely have personal elements in there as it relates to your academic background, to your career. But sometimes I would read a statement of purpose from a student and it would say, my name is Emily, I have 4 brothers and sisters, and that even though it is related to you, that's not related to your program. And so keep that type of personal information out of the statement of purpose. So continuing with the ideas for the content, I said the keyword is purpose. And so to begin with any paper like this, I like to start by having some sample prompts or brainstorming to get you on the right track. And so a few of those for a statement of purpose is, what do you want to learn with this program? What are your goals after graduation? How has your background or past experiences led you to where you are now? What made you choose this specific program or this university? That could be because of a professor, it could be because of the location, it could be a lot of different reasons. And ultimately, how will this graduate program help you get to where you want to go? All of these are questions that you can take into consideration for the content of your statement of purpose. So after you have an idea of your content, I suggest to develop an outline. And an easy way to think about that is just introduction, body, and conclusion. So in the next slides, I'll go just briefly on each one of those, on what you can include and how to structure that. Okay, so the first part, of course, is the introduction. This is the very first paragraph. You keep it short, maybe 2 or 3 sentences, and it's a chance for you to introduce yourself, tell them what you're interested in, and ultimately why you want to participate in this program. So you can see this example that I have here, and we won't read the whole thing, don't worry. But you can see it's just a couple of sentences. It addresses, the student's background, why they're interested in this, what's gotten them to this point, and what they want to do in the future. So again, it's that same content that we discussed before, but just in a concise opener. Okay, so moving forward with the body of the statement of purpose, one thing that I like for students to keep in mind whenever they're writing the body, the main portion of the statement of purpose, is essentially what you're trying to get across is describe why you are a good fit for the program, but also why the program is a good fit for you. Both of those need to be evident in the statement of purpose. Okay, so moving forward with, more specifically what to include in the body. So you've already introduced, your general reason for applying to this program. This is a chance for you to specifically discuss the relevance of your recent and current activities. So this could be, from your undergraduate coursework, maybe some specific experiences you had with research, any, presentations or writings or experience that you have in that field, etc. This could also include important papers or a thesis project that you did, or any relevant work or internship experience. All of those are aspects that you could include that would show, demonstrate that you've showed interest in this field before and that you have experience to bring to the program. Okay, so just a continuation of some other content to include in the body section of the statement of purpose. After you describe a little bit of your background, you want to be sure to tailor it to the specific school that you are applying to. So make it very specific of why you're interested in this particular program at this particular school. So it's an opportunity to elaborate on your academic interest. You can talk about specific aspects of the program that are appealing to you. Like I mentioned before, that may be a specific professor that is researching a topic that you're very interested in. It could be the location, if it's located in an area that, again, you have some research ties to, for example. Or if, the department has an emphasis on experiential learning, or if they have an emphasis on something else that you're, specific, in their specific program, that's your opportunity to mention this. So again, that's just to go with the body of the statement of purpose. Okay, so to conclude, after you've gone over your specific details, the conclusion is pretty similar to the introduction in that it's very brief. 2 or 3 sentences is sufficient, and you just summarize your overall points and your overall goal for the program. So again, in this example, you can see it's concise. It's 2 sentences roughly. They state their main point, their main goal of what they hope to do, and that is plenty to cover the conclusion. Okay, so I know that was a quick overview of the content, and that will change for every student depending on your interest and what program and what school you're applying to. But I wanted to give you a couple of practical tips and resources that can apply to any student, depending, whether you're undergraduate, graduate, any major that you're looking at, that you can use whenever you're doing this process. So as we mentioned, start with a brainstorm and outline. I think that helps you get your ideas together, and that it'll be focused and organized, because as I mentioned, this is a concise document that you're sharing with the admissions committee. Something else that I suggest for students is to write several drafts, because sometimes it just takes time to look it over, and that's why I also have here, sleep on it. If it's not coming to you all at once, sometimes it just takes time. So you may want to, wait and then come back to it with a fresh mind, to have a good perspective. Something else that I think is really important that is really evident with this type of writing is the concept of show, not tell. So, not necessarily just saying, I am interested in this program because, but, giving examples that demonstrate that, more specifically. And so I think this is the time where you do use examples from your previous experience, Show times when you've showed interest in this program and really make it connect, I guess. So I hope I'm explaining that correctly. We'll have a time for questions after, of course, if there's anything else that you would like to elaborate. But just to finish up these last few, look up examples of a statement of purpose. I think a lot of times it helps to just see an example of something else of what you're looking to do, especially if it's a type of paper that you're not used to writing on a regular basis. It can help to see examples. And as I mentioned, ask somebody to proofread it, whether that's a peer, another graduate student, a mentor, or a professor. That can be very helpful, and they can catch things that you may not see. And then lastly, you may have heard of this website. It's called the Purdue OWL website. It's an online writing lab, and they give some great resources for writing in general, but also specifically on the statement of purpose and the structure for that. So I would really recommend looking at those online resources.